Hey, I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday.
Yes.
You ain't got no job.
Yes.
And you ain't got shit to do.
And we're back. Another episode of Hot Takes and Half True. It's your boy Ivy Joe.
It's your boy Just Kingin'. What's happening?
And we are Hot Takes and Half True.
Yeah, where the agreeable go to disagree. What's up, man? Disagree with me.
I'm trying to disagree, baby. I'm trying my damnedest. What's been good, baby? I mean, I know we missed Valentine's Day by a few hours.
Yeah.
What's good with you?
Some of us missed it. Yeah. I think we both missed it.
Did we?
I mean, I went on a little date night, you know what I'm saying? A little dinner and a comedy show. Carlos Mencia down at the Seminole Hard Rock.
Oh, okay, so that's what you went down there for.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good, man. He had a good show, you know, equally offensive to everybody, you know, just how I like him.
That's how it's supposed to be, baby.
Yeah. So, good show. And then drove back right after that. Linked up with my best friend from Orlando. Him and his fiance was down there, so we linked up at the show. Mm-hmm. And I think he blew his budget for the weekend, so he was like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm hitting no tables. I'm going home and going to sleep." So I'm like, "I'm with it." So we drove back up, knocked out. Yeah, man. So, what about you, man? You got you some V-Day Cuddy? What's up, man?
I think we need to go ahead and cue If You Think You're Lonely Now.
Come on, man. I'm trying to live vicariously through you, man. I was expecting some stories.
Honestly, dude, but to be quite honest with you, man, if I don't have like a date, I usually stay in on Valentine. It's usually kind of crazy.
You don't try to hit the bar and scoop something? A little scoop and
Nah,
scope?
I don't,
Little scoop and scope? Come on, man.
I don't know, man. I guess if you think about it from that perspective, you'd be like, yeah, but it never seems to work out like that for me.
You know what it is. You can't go out with the expectation. You just got to be like, I'm going to go out, but I don't want none. Yeah. And then you give off that air of confidence. Like, you don't care if you get none or not that night. That rubs them the wrong way. Then they throw it at you.
I guess that was really the problem last night. I didn't give a shit. I was like, let me go home.
You went too far.
No, because I actually went to the cigar bar early, like straight from work, because I went down to Boca yesterday. And then when I got back, it was a little after 4, so I was like, well, I might as well pick up something from, what's the spot? Twin Peaks.
Okay,
Picked up something from Twin Peaks, and then we had a cigar over at the cigar bar. And I was like, 6 o'clock rolled around, I was like, yeah, it's time to get in.
You watched the NBA, any of the All-Star Weekend festivities? I missed all that.
Nah, I
Celebrity Game,
I'd be lying to you if I said I did.
Damn, man, come on.
I don't know, man. I'm not really interested in like celebrity basketball. I mean, I watched probably very sparingly parts of the what was it, Rising Stars game?
Yeah.
But that's only because I just kind of wanted to see what Zion was gonna do. But
Dunk on everybody.
Yeah, and I ain't seen none of that.
He had a pretty big oop.
Yeah,
where I think they said he bent the rim.
I ain't seen none of that. Like matter of fact, when I first initially was watching it, they were down like 10, and so I was like, man, these boys are gonna let these boys come in here and beat them. They're gonna let the world beat them. I'm like,
what you gonna do, man?
And then lo and behold, they end up coming back and I guess actually beating them by 20. That was kind of shocking.
So there you go.
So.
All right. Well, we got more festivities tonight. Got the dunk contest tonight, skills challenge, 3-point contest. I don't want to see this dunk contest, man. I don't know. I want AG to win it just because I feel like he was robbed back when him and Zach LaVine was going at it.
Yeah.
I feel like his over the mascot, under the leg, under both legs, dunk was kind of, ain't seen nothing like that. LaVine had, to me, the free throw line dunk is impressive, right? Because it is 15 feet, right? You jump at 15 feet and you're doing it. But it's like, it's impressive when nobody can do it. But when you're doing it with ease, it's like, it don't make it more impressive to me that you did a regular one with ease and then you went and did a windmill. It's like, yeah, because you clearly can make that distance, So I wasn't as impressed by that as a lot of people were, but I don't know. I'm biased. Orlando. So it is what it is. But I'd like to see AG take it this year. I don't want Dwight to win it. But I am excited for Dwight for what he lacks, I think, in I don't know why I don't want him to win it. I don't want to see him win it. I think, but he does bring a nice some showmanship to it. Yeah. He'll bring the antics and he'll make a show out of it. So I am excited for that. So we'll see though. In 3-point contest, I forget who was even in it. So we'll see who fucking
Booker in it.
Because
Booker in it.
Because Dame injured, right? So I don't think Dame's doing anything. I was looking forward to him. Dame was shaping up to be, my new favorite player in the league.
Probably, what's the young boy from Trey? He's probably
Trey is in it. So we'll see. Trey got a cannon on him, so we'll see.
Yeah, I was like, because I know he's in the game, so I was like, I'd imagine it'd be hard to keep him from actually being in the competition, especially for like the shooting part.
Yeah,
with him being quote unquote baby. What was it, baby? Curry. Is what they trying to say.
Oh man, is Curry that great to where they assigning niggas like?
I mean, he kind of changed
his
the game.
Moniker.
I mean, he kind of changed the game, and he's arguably the best shooter to ever play the game.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not.
Is Curry synonymous with shooting more than like Bird was?
Yeah. Because he.
I ain't saying he's not better. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Because it used to be a point in time where it was like when you taught when we played the white schools, and the white boys was known for like the 3-pointer, and I think Bird kind of set him up for that. Yeah. So okay.
But now it's Curry, because now Curry's the guy that kind of was on the front end of that. Shooting more threes than twos and stopping and popping at threes, and actually won NBA championships doing that. Like, I know there was probably teams before that started the stop at the 3-point line on the fast break.
That was Orlando's fucking strategy too the year they went to the finals.
But he actually won the game. You know what I'm saying? And then throwing the fact that him and what's the other boy, Thomas Clay, two of the best shooters that ever played the game.
The Splash Bros. All right, we'll bet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see what Trey do. We'll see what Book and the rest of them do tonight. I'm staying in tonight, so I'm tuned in. I'm locked in. Got me some 4 Roses. I got some tequila at the house. Got a little bit of everything. Some rum. So we'll see what I get into.
Okay. Yeah,
man.
Yes.
So shit. With that said, what you been listening to?
I've been listening to a lot of shit, but I off mic we were saying how I wanted to kind of give something theme with Valentine's Day. So
gotcha.
I stumbled upon Janae Aiko's Pussy Fairy.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean the title says it all, what I'm saying? But if you was privy to get you some Cuddy yesterday, that would have been a perfect track to kind of cut on to set the mood, because she talking that song, man. You know what I'm saying? Your old lady put that on. You know what time it is. You know what she mean business that night. So yeah. Janae talking that talk on that. So
okay.
So keeping with the lovers holiday, I felt like it was fitting to find something a little smoother and that spoke to that. So that's what I stumbled upon. It's a good track, man. I like it for that type of vibe. So there you go.
All right. Well,
what about you, man?
Well, I didn't go that route. It's oldie but goodie. International Players, UGK featuring Outkast, and I did that in honor of my ace, Kellen Duranda. Got a piece of mail the other day for his wedding. So
okay.
Shout out to that boy.
Look at that, man. Love is in the air.
Yeah. Shout out to that boy. Don't do it.
reconsider. Read some literature.
But shout out to him and his lovely wife / fiance, and look forward to seeing y'all in June.
For sure. Well, while we at that, I mean, I received, I guess it came in yesterday, invitation, to be a groomsman in my dog Zoo wedding. Yes. Taking place in May.
Shout out to that boy Zoo, man. So it's been a while, man. You don't fuck with your boys no more.
Hey, man.
You don't fuck with your boy no more, man. What's going on, man?
The Q's grow up and get married, man. You know what I'm saying? He's no longer a Q dog. He's an Omega man.
Okay. I ain't mad.
I understand, Zoo. I understand, dog. So, yeah, shout out to him and Danielle, man. Congratulations on that. And, yeah, I look forward to the festivities there. I think it's going down in New Orleans. I think it's at Thibodeau or something like that. What is that?
It's close.
Okay.
It's probably about 40 minutes.
Y'all put X's and U's and shit. I don't know how to say it. I'm thinking I'm saying it right, but
I'm sure y'all probably end up in New Orleans a night or two.
You damn right.
I mean,
you damn right.
It's close enough. I know enough people that kind of go back and forth. So
I was talking with wifey before I left here, and it was like, yeah, we got to find a babysitter for that weekend. She's like, no, we got to bring the baby. I said, I don't think New Orleans is really that city that you want to get the full experience. I feel like you can't have a 1-year-old with you.
You got to tell me what weekend that is. If it's the first weekend in May, man, I may want to go down there for Jazz Fest.
Yes. I think it's the weekend after that. I think it's the 16th. But still, man, like I've been to New Orleans and I'm like, I know it's a family city, right? But the touristy part is not. They don't pitch that towards families. They pitch it towards, you want to get away with.
It's all what y'all trying to do, man.
I'm trying to I'm trying to do things that a 1-year-old can't do.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. But that's all on being able to explain that properly.
Yeah, I walked out. I was like, okay, clearly we're not getting nowhere with this, so let me go record the podcast. I'll talk to y'all later. So
you still got a couple months, baby.
Yeah, we'll see.
Still got a couple months, man. But that's good to hear, man. Shout out to that boy Zoo again, man. And my Kellen Duranda. You know what I'm saying? I wish the best for you boys, man.
Yeah, man.
With that said, I guess we'll go ahead and...
what are we drinking this week, man?
Aqua.
Perrier. From the fine folks of from France or something, wherever the hell it's from.
I don't know where the fuck it's from.
Shit sound French. So, yeah, it's early right now. We're not recording at our normal time and... day of the week, obviously with Valentine's Day falling on a Friday, had to take that day for to dedicate to love, and go out, take the wifey on a date, and anticipate that Ivy would be doing similar, single man things, but tings.
My roster is a little young, a little early right now. We still
trying to clean that up.
Trying to figure out certain things right now.
Okay, all right.
It's not in a place where I want to spend too much time with the wrong guy.
Yeah, all good. That sounds like a grown man decision right there. I like it. So with that, we're recording Saturday morning. Too early to be pouring up right now. Just a little.
Says who?
Says me. Says me for me. Thank you.
Well, with that said, first topic of the day, we're going to jump into a little politics. Another week, Trump proven to be the criminal that he is, and another example of why he should have been impeached. Usually motherfuckers, when they get tapped on the wrist, they learn. But obviously this asshole is not going to learn his lesson. With that said, this week, the DOJ took an unusual step of intervening in Roger Stone's sentencing recommendation. It's the guy that was the middleman between the Trump campaign team and WikiLeaks, which was behind or releasing the information that was obtained during the Russian hack. And essentially, Stone lied to Congress about his role in that WikiLeaks Russian hack, and as well as obstructed fact-finding, when essentially he obstructed justice, and was found guilty of 7 counts in November. They originally recommended 7 to 9 years for his jail term. But, you know, as we know about Trump, he had his boy Bill Barr stand in and kind of have them to, you know, re-recommend sentencing guidelines or whatnot, which make them look bad in front of the federal court. Essentially, the judge called them out on it, too. And as a result of that, all 4 people resigned from the case. And I think 1 actually resigned from the DOJ. So, very interesting week, man. But at the same time, it was another example of why, you know, he should have been impeached. And this guy isn't learning his lesson, you know. I have a quick cut from the Dino Obidala show. He explains it so much better than I could. But it's kind of ridiculous, man. I mean, and it's a joke because Bill Barr even came back and kind of had a interview on ABC saying that, you know, with Trump going back and saying on Twitter and validating that he told him to do this, it's making it hard.
This is a Trump Barr charade choreographed by them, unless Bill Barr were to resign. And then I would say, you know what, this is a real thing. And here's just a short clip of it, because there's more to it today. Here's clip number 3, Bill Barr from last night.
Barr is a strong supporter of President Trump, but he's drawing some lines. I asked if the tweets about criminal cases are causing a problem, and he was blunt, saying he wants them to stop.
To have public statements and tweets made about the department, about our people in the department, our men and women here, about cases pending in the department, and about judges before whom we have cases, make it impossible for me to do my job and to assure the courts and the prosecutors in the department that we're doing our work with integrity.
So today, Donald Trump acknowledged that he has been making mistakes and promised not to tweet again. I'm kidding. I can't even say that and not laugh. Of course Donald Trump didn't do that. What did Trump did this morning? He tweets, first quoting Bill Barr, quote, "The president has never asked me to do anything in a criminal case, close quote, AG Barr," he writes. But then Trump adds, "This doesn't mean that I don't have, as president, the legal right to do so. I do, but I have so far chosen not to." Donald Trump's now putting in writing, folks, that like a dictator, he has the right to tell his attorney general not to prosecute his friends and to go prosecute his political enemies. Yet the GOP is silent. I have to amend my comment. I usually say Trump is how democracies die. It's really Trump and the GOP are how democracies die. Nothing. Not a word from him. Now, Mitch McConnell last night saying, I think the president should listen to AG Barr. He knows what he's doing, that kind of stuff. Look, this is a charade. And there's more developments today that make it clear it's a game. Bill Barr is in every instance, every opportunity to defend the president or do the right thing, he's defended Donald Trump. When the Mueller report came out, that was the most famous example, where he characterized it in a way that was not really consistent with the actual report when we got it. In fact, when he testified about it, we learned Robert Mueller had told him he didn't like the letter because it didn't characterize things correctly. And then with the phone call with the Ukrainian president that went to Barr first, he said there's no wrongdoing here. Didn't even have an investigation. Can you believe that? You have an actual, and they even had the whistleblower complaint. We didn't have that yet. They have the transcript where Trump is saying, investigate Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. And to Bill Barr, that's fine. Didn't want to investigate. So there's not much that I trust Bill Barr. And then today we learned more. New York Times reporting about 1 o'clock this afternoon that Bill Barr has appointed, and we didn't know this, is because of reporting. There was no outside announcement. Bill Barr appointed outside prosecutors to review the case against Donald Trump's other felon BFF, Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn was a security advisor who lied to FBI agents. As a reminder with Michael Flynn, he voluntarily pled guilty to a felony in December 2017. Again, he voluntarily pled guilty, Michael Flynn. No one forced him. He pled guilty, and he cooperated with the prosecutors. I'm not sure what he did with them. Since then, they've been dragging their feet on doing the sentencing, fighting over things. We just learned a short time ago Roger Stone's attorneys are going to make an application for a new trial. People might get upset about that. That's fine. That's the legal system. As a lawyer, I can tell you that if your client is convicted, you have the right within a certain period of time to make an application to the court, appeal. And grounds for appeal can be anything.
Yes.
So they can do that. It might get approved and there might be a new trial. If they find some wrongdoing, we'll find that out. I have no problem with that. It's the interference of Donald Trump into the actual case, which is absolutely wrong.
So that's in a nutshell. I mean, I had the pleasure of hearing that live. I was like, man, he kind of just walked it right down on like everything that's been going on, you know, pointing back at the different things that Barr has been doing as far as interfering with, knowing that shit is going down, you know, and on the other hand, trying to go out there and say that he's willing to take the heat from the president. And it's like, and what I guess, you know, and I also heard this, and, you know, I guess what he's really trying to tell him is like, man, leave me alone so I can go ahead and do what you want me to do without having to defend what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not telling the world that you're a henchman, I can go ahead and just implement your policies and your strategies, you know, as or under the guise of a normal DOJ justice system. You know what I'm saying? But again, I said it earlier, I said it again. It's just a long line of, you know, another example of why he is unfit to be in that office and why he is a criminal.
Yes.
So, all right. So, I'll ask some questions because I didn't hear that live. You know, that was my second time hearing that clip right there. So, it sounds like Barr. So, when you're speaking of, you know, the henchman, right? You're talking about Barr.
Yep.
And you're saying, when you say, you know, I'm going to paraphrase what you just said. Basically, like, hey, stop bringing so much attention, you know, to what I'm doing. You're referring to, yeah, that's what heat is. Yeah, the block is hot. It's like, all right, man, you're bringing the cops around, right? Yeah. Bringing that attention, you're referring to Donald Trump. So Trump is doing that via tweets, I assume, or
yeah. So when so it came out, I think Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
That the 4 lawyers that was on the original prosecution team resigned from the trial because Barr stepped in and told them that he wanted them to recommend a different sentencing, not to 7 to 9 years. And I guess out of protest,
who's sentencing?
Roger Stone.
Okay, all right.
Roger Stone. And he wanted
suggested.
Yeah. Well, suggestion is, you know, your boss comes in and tell you, I want you to do this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they, I guess, refused to do it. So, you know, I guess this just kind of a show of solidarity or protest. They resigned from the trial. And then
they made a moral decision. They made an ethical decision, right? It's like, do we do the wrong thing? Right, or something that we are internally conflicted with, probably, right? Because as prosecutors, you know, there's supposed to uphold, you know, justice and all that, right? So they're being coerced, for lack of a better word, to, or that might be the right word. That is what it is, right? So they're being coerced to look the other way, give a lighter sentence, and downplay the offenses, right?
Because to what it seems to be for as a favor to the president.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's not. So this was one of the things that came out in another segment on Dean's show. You can check them out on weekdays. I believe from 6 to 8 on channel 127 Progress on Sirius and XM. But what came out is like, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, like career attorneys, because him meddling in different trials or whatnot, they're making them look bad in front of like the judges, to the extent that and so which is not bad. Okay, so it's bad, but it's not like, you know,
looks bad, but it's not career.
Yeah, you're not showing anything that's like corrupt about it. It's just if he was genuinely, I guess it's under the guise that we see that we're over prosecuting people, and I stepped in because I thought it was an injustice. Okay, it'd be one thing if he was doing it. He was like, we need to take a broader look at all trials and see if we are overcharging people.
Yep.
But it's another thing when you pick and choose the president's friends to look at are they being unfairly or overcharged. And the reason why he brought up Flynn is because they already had him going to jail, right? Like, he was going to jail, and now there's some hubbub that he stepped back in and is like, well, maybe we shouldn't send him to jail either. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? And that was the trial that the judge was like, hold on. Last time you came here, you said you was trying to send him to jail for 3 to 4 years. Now you're saying that
we got that wrong.
We got to, say, hey, you need to get, basically telling you look bad, and then the prosecutor was like, yes, sir.
Tell him get your stuff together, man.
Yeah,
get it together.
And that's essentially what the judge told him.
Yeah,
Like,
get your shit together, man.
And it's all because of this melanin, you know what I'm saying, that Barr is doing on behalf of the president. But what makes him look bad is when the president goes online and basically said he did exactly what I told him to do. It's about time. He did it.
Well, do you expect anything less from the tweeter in chief?
No, man, but I just, all this blindness that people want to say, well, he's not doing anything that should be impeached. This is blatant abuse of power.
Yeah.
Blatant.
Anyone that says that is they're just looking for confirmation bias, or
exactly.
They just want something to agree with how they already think, and they like them, and they don't want. Yeah, I get it.
And the boy just got impeached, so it's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like
he's got a clean record.
Exactly. Like, you know what I'm saying? You already been brought to the principal office for exactly.
You got a body on your record, and then you're on the crime scene with a gun and a dead victim, and you want them to treat you as if there's no way you could have.
I could have been done this, but I chose not to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you're proving their point. Like, this is abuse of power.
We just need to get through this term and hopefully get him out of office for the next term. We only got a few more months, baby. November 2020.
Go out and vote, baby. Get out and vote.
Yeah. I want to. It's funny you say that. I wanted to talk to you about that, and it's not really content for the show, but man, I'm making it that right now. Yeah. What do you say about registering to volunteer, man?
Okay.
And trying to go out and volunteer at the polls, man, and try to encourage people, get people out there to vote.
Okay.
I never did it. I've always thought about it and considered it, but
well, I campaigned before, so
all right, well, there you go. Well, show me the ropes, man. Take me out on the trail, And I got a homeboy. I got to reach out to him to see about getting him on the show. I think you two would have some very engaging conversation. He is. I designed a logo for him, Philip Singleton. He goes by the hip hop. His kind of alias is the hip hop lobbyist.
Okay.
So I got to hit him up. He said he would come out and speak to some of the kids in the community with the fraternity and stuff. But I think it'd be good that same weekend. Maybe we could get him to come sit in on the show and have like a sparring of the minds, if you will, especially between the two of you, since your background, given your MPA background and experience you have in that realm, and then what he does on the day-to-day.
That'll work for me, baby.
Okay, for sure.
With that
have
said,
to set that up.
With that said, before we move on, it wouldn't be fair without having a little funny. I mean, it's dire times, but sometimes you need a little funny.
South Carolina electorate is a whole new ball game for the Dems. Joe Biden pointed out why.
Up till now, we haven't heard from the most committed constituency of the Democratic Party, the African American community. 99.9%. That's the percentage of African American voters who have not yet had a chance to vote in America. 99.8. That's the percent of Latino voters who haven't had a chance to vote.
Well, sure. That's because the first 2 states to vote are Iowa and New Hampshire, which are so white you have to go to the supermarket's international aisle to buy pepper. Now, the second most popular candidate among African Americans is former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg with 22%. Now, that sounds surprising, but Bloomberg has been out there in the African American community, shaking hands and frisking babies. Bloomberg, it's true. Gotta check the diaper.
Gotta check the diaper. So funny stuff. It's Friday, although we're gonna get serious pretty quickly.
Well,
Shaking hands and frisking babies.
yeah, hell yeah. With that said, up next we're gonna get off the hard shit and get into some fun shit. So I guess jump back into sports. We're gonna get into the whole Astros cheating debacle, and
There was a segue there, tying it with since being Valentine's Day weekend or yesterday. I feel like there was a cheaters segue there, the lovers' holiday, and then we'll follow that up with let's talk about some cheating,
Yeah, and they came out. I guess that was Thursday. They had at the start of spring training. Ironically, right up the street, they kind of addressed the cheating allegations, and to put it bluntly, people weren't satisfied with what they got. With that said, I'm gonna throw it out to one of my favorite shows, PTI, Tony K, and get some insights on what I guess a reigning MVP in NL felt about the statements from my favorite team.
But we begin today with NL MVP Cody Bellinger torching the Houston Astros.
Yes.
Bellinger called Jim Crane's apology weak. He said the Astros stole the World Series from his Dodgers. He all but accused Jose Altuve of wearing a buzzer. But let's watch.
I thought the apologies were whatever. I thought Manfred's punishment was weak, giving him immunity. These guys were cheating for 3 years. I think what people don't realize is Altuve stole an MVP from Judge.
Yes!
Everyone knows they stole the ring from us. Personally, I lost respect for those guys. I would say everyone in the show, in the big leagues, lost respect for those guys. I don't know what human hits a walk-off home run against Aroldis Chapman to send your team to the World Series. And one has the thought to say, don't rip my jersey off, but two, go in the tunnel, change your shirt, and then come out and do your interview. Like that makes sense.
That is a wow.
My man.
Okay.
What's your thoughts?
The niggas cheated. They cheated, and I agree with him on some points. I don't remember all the points he made, but the apology was weak.
Yes.
If you can even call it an apology. Because if I'm not mistaken, it made some comments like it was kind of, it's cheating to the world out there, but within the or within the MLB, it's like it's kind of understood that we do this, or that people do this, or however they laid it, right? It was just, it's all, I don't know. It's kind of like they're not really taking accountability. They're just saying like, well,
Yes.
everyone does it, but everyone might not do it. They're just saying that to kind of deflect the blame, in my opinion, and not step up to the plate to do and just say, hey, we fucking cheated and we got caught doing it, and I think he did say it was an advantage, or it gave us an advantage or something, but even that felt kind of smug, and how it was presented, just like, okay, it might have given us a slight advantage, and like, motherfucker, you know what pitch is coming. That if I know you're throwing a fastball straight down the middle, right? Yeah, I know where to place the bat, right, to increase my chances. And if I know it's a curve, if I know it's a sinker, like yes, that is the advantage in baseball. I don't know how you can try to underplay that and try to make it seem like it's not as big an offense as it is, but they did it, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's two big ass asterisks that got to go next to this one for sure. But I don't know. I don't know what do you do? The punishments were they were very weak. But I guess it's all hindsight. So what the hell do you do? Do you strip them of a championship? You know, like I'm asking, like I'm posing this kind of to you in the moment. Like, what is the appropriate punishment for a team that is suspected of and or proven to be have cheated to secure that championship?
I don't know. I mean, yes, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine they wouldn't. I mean, it's not like, I guess the thing about it is, it's not like if you take it away from the Astros, then it should go to the next team. Because they don't want it. They don't want it that way. It's like they lost, and then who's to say if the other team, one of the other teams that got beat prior to that, would have beat them. Yeah. So basically, I mean, I don't think MLB is going to want to have a blank there. So I don't think it's going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It may be an
That's the part that makes this kind of, like meh for me, because it's like, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. You can issue fines and suspensions and fire people and all that. And, I think the real answer, I guess, now that I'm talking this out, would be, some kind of changes in the rules and regulations within the league. That's like, hey, what's tolerated, what's not tolerated, what is considered acceptable, practices. And
the one thing that I guess,
if it's not already there, I'd imagine it should be there already.
The thing about it is, I guess there are limits to what you can do to cheat, because stealing signs is cheating, but it's within the rules of game of play in baseball. It's just, in this instance, they use more technology to cheat. You know what I'm saying? They actually used,
video camera looking right at the the
so it
catcher.
It's cheating, but it's also in line with, hey, I'm on second base and I'm curve coming. Touch my hat twice. Fastball coming. Same thing. Same thing. So I guess, with all that said, I guess my take. Big whoop. Still champions. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So
straight out the book of Belichick.
Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't crying for it. I mean, I would say this. I will admit Jim Crane's that bit about, I don't think it had anything to do with the outcome. I thought that was a little bit of bullshit.
Of course.
But at the same time, I also looked at that as that's the classic case of a billionaire saying, I do what I want. So, hey, bro, I'm an Astros fan. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't care. Like, I got my championship. So
put the asterisk next to that one.
And you can put the asterisk all you want.
You get the championship coat. Put the asterisk next to the year.
But the thing about it is, I guess now, the memorabilia is going to be cheaper now.
They're going to charge you more for that asterisk.
I can go ahead and get it now, baby. The price is going down.
Yes.
Yeah. It's always weird when this shit happens, when the deflate gate and all that happened with the Pats. It just gives people who despise that team and that club, kind of, ammo to just launch whatever they want towards them and accusations that are unwarranted and everything else. But, and I had this conversation the other day related to the Pats. It kind of stemmed out for the Astros, and because I had a deflated football in my trunk, and somebody thought, let's make a joke about it. But it's like, are you really going to use that and go back to week one to say like, oh, that's why they beat us week 1, right? And there's so many games where I could say, well, they beat you by like 4 touchdowns. And could a 11-pound football be the cause of that? I said contributor, maybe. Mm-hmm. But in football, it's a little different, right? Because baseball, if you know the pitch, right, you can kind of know what to prepare for and whatever. Yep. In football, it's like, those 3 touchdowns, your secondary was beat by 10 yards. It's like you got beat on that play. Now, possibly him having better control of football could contribute to it, but your secondary got beat. Mm-hmm. Right? I say that's a bigger component to me, at least when I look at what was going on with the Pats. I'm like, well, if you get beat on the play, that's a bigger proponent to you losing than his ability to hold on to the pass. Now, if it's a bunch of high traffic passes and the guy is like catching on the passes that are in triple, coverage or whatever, mm-hmm. Does it play a bigger part there? I think so. But all that to say, they ain't do shit to the Pats. Brady got a couple games off. And was that the season they still came back and won it?
I'm not sure.
I think they won it. I don't know. My memory is not as good as it was with championships and shit.
They won a lot, though.
Yeah. But all that to say is that if they didn't win it, the niggas still went to the damn Super Bowl or the championship game or something. Like, you generally see the Pats go that far. Mm-hmm. And that was after you caught them, so you pumped their ball up to 12 pounds, made sure it was right where it was at, and they still fucking did it. And you did nothing to their historical, legacy. So it's good talking points on TV, but other than that, it's just kind of like do better going forward. Hold people to a higher standard going forward, and whatever. And it's baseball, so I just generally baseball. I'm like, I don't really give a fuck.
I guess my last piece on this, I find it interesting how all this shit came about with the cat that was on another team. He's the reason why it actually got legs, because he actually confirmed it. I find it interesting that, if
nigga snitching.
Yeah, that yeah, that
you snitching.
And look, dude, if you were really, appalled by it, why didn't you say something then? Then why didn't you say something then? Why wait 2 fucking years?
Because it didn't benefit him.
Exactly.
And now he's having to play against it, and it's not working to his advantage. We know how that goes. That's what I'm saying. Is like, you can't take a moral, like, it's hard for me to have sympathy for you.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, where it's like you didn't blow the whistle when you were
if you was at a pause. Right. Do it then. See, I would have respected it then. Like, I respect that.
Yeah.
Now it's just one of those things.
Part of it.
Oh, now I got to play against them, and I'm with the team that I guess put the initial complaint in, but they couldn't prove it, so it went away. So now they finally paying someone on the team, and I get probably put an extra 10-15% on that.
He's working the system too, so exactly. it's hard for me to have sympathy for him, man. No. They want it. If they have an asterisk next to it, they have an asterisk. Whatever. Just going forward, niggas with video cameras sitting in the middle of the field. You can't even take a camera to the arena, so this definitely was an inside job. Yeah, there's been a number of times where they took my fucking camera, GoPro, all this. And
I think they were saying that this was like a camera that they use for like instant replay, mm-hmm. But they have access to it in the hall.
Yeah.
So someone was in the hall watching the shit. And then they'll bang on the trash can or whatever.
Yep.
So it's something that's new. I mean, probably should have definitely had some type of rule put in place once that was there. I mean, I would think that would have been obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's that close. Someone can just sit here and just kind of be like, yo, fastball. Like,
bang the cans 2 times.
So, I
cha-cha slide out there.
I said all that to say this. I mean, with so much going on in the world that is serious, I mean, sports, I don't take that serious. Like, I'm not going to get up in arms about it. Even if this went against my team, I wouldn't have got up in arms about it at this point, because it's, again, we're 2 years removed now.
Till the refs miss a pass interference.
Well, that's different, man. That's different. Like, football, I'm more serious about that, especially when it was blatant. Like
I got
it's
you.
not like
I'm just poking the bear, man. I'm just poking the bear.
You did. But
who that?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, with all that said, we just talked about a topic that was more serious than that. Like I'll get up in arms more about that than I would about this cheating scandal. And I said that to say it's a big nothing burger.
Yes.
So.
I mean, you're kind of like the player who was on the Astros before, right? This benefits you, so it's like if it was the other way around, then you might feel a little more adamant about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just hate when people try to take these moral high grounds as if they've never done something self-serving.
Well,
right? Because if the Lakers win it, the Magic win it, right, and they say like there was some foul play or whatever, it's like okay, but my team won, so I'm fucking happy. I'll cry next year when the Heat win it and knock the Magic out. It just is what it is. Like it's human nature to be somewhat self-serving.
I guess the reason why I'm even more like that, particularly in this particular instance, I mean, who's to say? Like, let's say for instance they got caught before, like during 17. Who's to say who would have won then?
Yeah.
Like, this boy Bellinger is saying they stole one from us. I mean, hell, the team that could have been there from our side could have beat you then. So there's no guarantee you still would have got there. You could have still ended in the same place of not having no rings right now. So that's kind of why I'm even more like, and why, because like it could have been the same thing that happened this year, where a team that barely got into the playoffs found themselves with the World Series championship.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
LA's been the best team in the National League for the last 4 years. What you have to show for it?
All right, so with that, you got the pad. What's next? I can't see it.
Next up, it's football this time. Next up, we're gonna revisit a topic that we briefly talked about towards the end of the NFL season. The Myles Garrett situation, where he got in a fight with Mason Rudolph. At the end of the game. At the end of the game, well, there's been some new developments. He's just had he had a interview with Mina Kimes that aired yesterday.
You can try to take his head off.
Yeah. With that said, I'm going to pass it back over to PTI and hear a little bit from Myles himself.
We got some Myles Garrett reaction in the wake of his suspension being lifted after just 6 games. In a conversation with Mina Kimes, Garrett doubled down on his accusation. The Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph called him the N-word, precipitating their helmet-pulling, helmet-swinging confrontation. Rudolph maintains he didn't say it, and the NFL's investigation couldn't find any evidence of Rudolph using the slur. Tone, what do you make of Garrett's comments?
I really don't know what to say, because as you say, the NFL investigated this, didn't find that Rudolph had said it. The Pittsburgh Steelers who were around him said they didn't hear it said. Garrett waited a day to say it in the first place, didn't say it immediately afterwards.
No, Tony, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe. I was looking for some sort of finding of evidence. And there are black teammates on the Steelers who were right there, nearby.
Yes.
And they said they heard it.
Right.
There were some of Garrett's teammates who said it. And I'm like, okay, look, I've been involved in those kind of dust-ups. And I don't know about any sort of closure on the part of Cleveland. We've moved past it. I don't know. Maybe they have, Tony. Because if there had been a finding, they couldn't move past it so quickly. Then we'd be asking what punishment would be due to Mason. But we're not dealing with that because there was no finding. I don't know what to believe.
Mike, if it's true, Mason Rudolph would be out of the league. If in fact he said this, I think he couldn't stay in the league anymore. But I will say this. There's a meeting between Roger Goodell and Myles Garrett, and a day or two later, he's reinstated, which means the suspension indefinite was 6 games. I would think it's possible that somebody in the league office believes this was said, and that's why it's not 8, 10, or 12, but I don't know. I don't.
You know what, Tony? I think the NFL got it wrong again. I'm not talking about the investigation. I'm talking about the 6 games. Unless you find something here, or you got to come out and say, I have reason to believe. But once again, the NFL can't get it right because 6 games isn't enough unless you have some findings to share with the public.
I don't necessarily agree with Will Vaughn on that, but I mean, we talked about it at kind of briefly. I mean, I was upset when we talked about it because I kind of this basically essentially I felt like something like this must have happened. And I was like, you don't just turn like that for no reason. And then I think even in the interview, he mentioned that, you know, I tried to like calm down and walk away, and then he came back. I was like, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. See, I already like trashed you, and now you coming back for more. Mm-hmm. And then he did exactly what really pissed me off.
Yes.
And then played the fucking victim. But, you know, to say all that, I'll be remiss to say that he did come back and say that it's false. But, you know, kind of, you know, piggybacking off what Tony Kornheiser said, I mean, shit, man, he can't acknowledge it. Like, you think he's going to admit he did it?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is he going to, like, because what Kornheiser said, I'm sitting there like, yeah, 80% of his colleagues is black. He's not going to get away with that. And they're not going to risk ruining the locker room for a backup fucking quarterback.
And I wonder if, you know, and now, I'm just gonna say it, right? I don't have a dog in this race, but I wonder if one of them would even go to bat for him and say, like, if he heard it, still his teammate, right? So it's just a compromising situation. Like, I can protect you in public, but then condemn you in private, right? But because you're my teammate, my quarterback, I can say I didn't hear shit. But then in the locker room, you know, hem your ass up and be like, hey, look here, right? And that's just one of those positions where, you know, it's a conflict of interest. Yeah. And yeah, you're asking this softball question. That's one of them questions where on TV it's always like the lawyer there in the interrogation room, and the lawyer, you know, kind of gives them the answer, you know, to the question while asking the question. Like, you didn't call him a nigger, did you? And it's like, no. Or like, tell me that you didn't call him a nigger, right? Mm-hmm. And then no, I didn't do that. I would never do that. No further questions. Yeah. You know, and then they leave it.
Yeah.
But like, there's no benefit to saying that you did it.
Exactly. Like,
so why would he do it?
Like unless there's actual proof that shows that he did it. Like you know, that's one of the things that I think didn't get caught into, like, that little snippet from the show. There was like with all the mics. How, you know, it's amazing that they did nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, the nigga with the bubble in the headphones wasn't pointing at him during that.
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. You know, it probably never get shaken out. I mean, again, I would be remiss to say that, you know, Mike Tomlin, you know, did come out, you know, kind of back Rudolph. You know, said that essentially that, you know, he talked to a lot of people during the Super Bowl week and nothing came out that he could, you know, say that happened, and at this point, you know, Rudolph in his mind, you know, didn't do it.
Yep.
So, you know, but at the same time, like we just mentioned, you know, you got to protect the locker room. I mean, unless there's proof, I mean, you're gonna pretty much fall on that sword. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep. And you can condemn them in private. That's not to say that they accept the behavior or whatever, but, you know, you're a united front to the public, and then, you know, in private, we have our disagreements. You know what I'm saying? Which, do you have more on that, or?
No, again, it's just more or less, you know, us following up on the top of that. You know, we can do this now. Being that we've been doing this a year now.
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, keeping with, you know, public disputes or private issues that become, you know, public display. I think we can segue into the next one, which is T.O. and McNabb.
Oh, okay. I guess we can come back. Okay, T.O. and McNabb. I guess, you know, if you know, just to be kind of get right to the point. Over the last, I guess, year or so, McNabb has been coming back, throwing more shade on T.O. after, I guess, a lot of us thought that it was over with, but apparently someone wants some attention. So, T.O. visited, a show that I listen to quite regularly, The Brilliant Idiots, with old Schultzy.
Hezzy.
The Hezzy
himself.
And Charlamagne. And he sat down and had some poignant points to point out about himself, as well as Donovan McNabb. I mean, with that said, I'm gonna pass it over and I guess that's clip 2.
Matt, let me ask you, I want an objective opinion on this. Mm-hmm. Does that help or hurt a team? Right? T.O. hasn't played in a while. He comes back, he's not 100%. They might have established a different type of chemistry.
Yep.
Does that help or hurt?
At that time, it helps because that's your superstar. Like when Kevin Durant came back, right, for that game, that energy that's in the building, that's in the city, it definitely helps. It helps every player, especially the role players. Because again, don't forget, they won 2 playoff games. So the role players, like, I've done my portion. I raised my level up, but I might not be able to do it this 3rd game. Whew, I'm glad I got my big brother back. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely helps in all those scenarios.
And I would have thought that was the approach that Donovan would have taken with me being out. Those 2 playoff games. He's been politically correct all his life. You know what I mean? But when it came to me, for some odd reason,
maybe he don't like you, dog.
Like I said, that's what I took from it. Is that what is it against? What is it about me that you?
What do you think it was?
I don't know. And if you're gonna get mad at anybody, why not get mad at the media for asking you that question? But you've been politically correct. Every other answer, why not be politically correct when it came to me about whether I was gonna play or not? He could have found a number of ways to answer about me not, being, not being available to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you started taking shots at you now. That's like last month.
A couple of weeks ago.
Honestly, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And so for me, like I said, I thought it was dead. I thought it was done. I've seen him a few times after that. We played in Larry Fitzgerald's softball game on the team, whatever. I thought everything was cool. But at the end of the day, like I said, when you're trying to stay relevant for whatever reason, and as I mentioned to you earlier, I've never been in the off the field, had any off the field problems, any issues. For him, the league, the team, guys that put him in such high regard, who's had the most off the field issues? How many DUIs have he had? How many sexual assault situations? Me too. That's what I'm saying.
He caught any dudes?
Yeah, he's on that list, bro.
So again,
really.
Show's gotta chill with that shit. I know what he's doing there.
We'll jump into it, but the thing I found the most funny, because I actually watched this the podcast. It seemed like Schultz must have got on T.O.'s nerves in that, because like at a certain point he stopped looking at Schultz. And I was just talking to Charlamagne. I was like, "Is this?" And that's why he kept like talking like real quickly. But at the whole time, he didn't even like acknowledge it. He just kept talking to Charlamagne. And I felt like after a while, even Schultz was like looking around, kind of like, "Really? He must don't like you, dog."
Yeah, go figure. You know how Schultz get though. Schultz, takes You kind of said this, I guess, about me, but you said, you find of me. You said I find a chink in weak niggas' arguments or armor, however you portrayed that, and that's what I think Schultz kind of does as well. When people come on there, he looks for the inconsistencies in a lot of people's ideologies and plans and things that they subscribe to, and it can rub people the wrong way, People don't necessarily have things flushed out all the way, and T.O. could have came in there and had a very simple take that's just like, oh, he don't like me because of nothing, and then Schultz could be like, so it wasn't these 10 things that you did? You don't think that?
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean,
already you on somebody's bad side.
So one of the things they brought up was like, they try to get to like when it went bad, and he was like, man, I haven't hung out with that guy since he cussed me out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Cook too.
The reputation is what people think of you. Like for me and my character, I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of who my grandmother raised. And so after all of that, if I'm such the bad person that the media has portrayed me to be all the years, you would think that it would translate or transfer to post football.
So you and Donovan never had a meal together? Y'all never had any type of
After he
relationship?
cursed me out in the huddle, bro, I canceled all of that.
Really?
It would be
Wait,
like I said,
what
you
he
know,
cursed you out?
we teammates or whatever.
Yes.
And I'm in the huddle, and I don't throw. You're me. I'm Donovan. You come to me, you're like, T, I was open on this play. We
I
don't
don't want no fucking soup.
We don't. So I'm gonna give you the scenario. So we don't work on this play. We play. I think it was the Browns or the Giants. I can't remember who it was, but we ran this particular play. I'm number one in the progression. The play worked to a T in practice. We didn't even have to tell, but sometimes they'll scheme and tell the defense what to do, but we didn't even have to do that just because the play was so potent. Did it in practice number of times, did it in the game, it worked to a T. Everybody knew the play was coming up. I ran the route, ran to the sidelines, the defender bit, I'm up the sideline, I'm wide open. He doesn't even throw the ball. So before I even just judge anything, I come back to the huddle because I didn't see what was going on. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he got flushed out the pocket or whatever the case may be. I said, dude, I was wide open. Because when I came out of my route.
What was your tone when you said that?
Yeah, I don't think you said dude, not wide open.
That's the question.
The fucker was panting. He just ran a route.
My tone wasn't demonstrative. Nothing. It was no different than any other time. I was like, dude, I was wide open. It was just me talking to him.
No profanity, no nothing?
No. Dude, he looked at me and told me, shut the fuck up. After that, bro, so I chose then, I could have addressed it in the huddle during the game. I said, no, I'm going to chill out. We came out on that series. I even asked my position coach. I'm like, what happened on that? My coach looked at me with kind of like just bewildered. He's like, I don't know. I said, was he flushed out of the pocket? And he's like, nothing. So after the game, I went to my locker. We're in the locker room. I waited, like I said, at this time, I know that the perception. So I know people thinking, oh, he's going to, he's destroying the locker room. There's always something. So I waited till the locker room cleared out. It was a couple people in the area while we were getting dressed. And before he left out of the area, I just addressed him. And I said, look, dude, at the end of the day, I said, I'm a man, you a man. I said, I didn't come at you sideways or what have you. All I said was I was open. I said, don't ever address me like that again.
I think I'll say one thing. I always liked T.O., man. And I think after this interview, I like him even more, because I always felt like he was misunderstood, and I'm always pulling for everyone that's black. So
Donovan black too.
Well, Donovan
half that damn Eagles team was black. True, what you talking about?
True, but
the person you leaving out, Riley Cooper. He wasn't on the team then, so
he fuck all them niggas.
Riley Cooper and Andy Reid, man, the only two people you ain't bagging.
But I felt like he always got a bad rap for being toxic to the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that fed into a narrative, and they wanted guys to be more like Donovan, which was more corporate, which is not bad. I mean, shit, that's kind of what we have to do. This is like maybe the first time that he was able to get out his side of the story, and in my mind, in my view, it seemed to make sense to me. It understood. I can understand why that relationship was fractured and never could go nowhere. Because especially if it's one of those things where, it could be like one of those situations where you always feel like this motherfucker's always just fucking with me, but it's like it never reaches a point where you gotta really address it. Just like, why, this is childish. Why the fuck, like, you don't do that to no one else. It's like you intimidated by me, and then because you never really checked it, it got to that point where he was like, shut the fuck up. And because he felt comfortable doing it to you, like, oh, see, I should have fucked you up. Last month, I knew I should have fucked you up. But, with all that said, I think, I want to talk about this topic primarily because I felt like it gave T.O. an opportunity to explain himself and get his side of the story out. And, I think it makes him look better. You know what I'm saying? Just despite the fact that he still has some, erotic things that he do from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, not wanting to be in Canton for the Hall of Fame, and he kind of seems like he's a little
I got you.
wild here and there, but like he said, he's you never see me, getting pulled over for DUIs. I never had no Me Too.
Yeah, he was just different, man. He was just passionate, and his passion came off as arrogance to people, but it was one of those things where, I didn't dislike T.O. I was just a Vic fan at the time, and I knew we had to see their ass, so it is what it is. But I didn't dislike him. I always thought he was one of those guys that, put in a lot of work, and as a result, they were just better than other people. So when you hear like some of the antics that he would do, the ordering the pizza, the doing push-ups, sit-ups, and all that stuff.
I actually like this shit, bro.
Yeah, I'm not speaking down on that. I'm saying but this is a person who's more prepared than anybody else on the field.
Gotcha.
So he's doing it, and if you were to call him out, it's kind of like Sherman, right? Even now with Sherman, people give him a bad rap because he's very confident in himself, and he's like, you put me out there with anybody, and I'll cover him. You know what I'm saying? I'll cover this route, I'll cover that route, and then I think he's, for the most part, proven himself. Right there, he has some bad coverages or whatever, but it's going to happen. You're absolutely right. But he's had moments where he said, I prepared for this, and what did I do? I shut him down. And it's like, and you guys are looking down on me because I was able to vocalize and tell you that, hey, I'm more than prepared for this, and I'm going to show up, and I showed up. Right? They want you to kind of take this personality or this humility kind of, and I never understood what that was rooted in. Like they don't want you to know that you're good or to come off as if you know that you're good. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of, at least for what I remember with T.O., is what I perceive people's problem to be with him was that he knew he was going to be open. He just knew it.
Yeah.
And it's not because...
And that was in a different game, too.
Yeah, definitely. There was no defenseless receiver back then. You know what I'm saying? But, and it was true. And before we even hit the record button, I was telling you, I was like, I used to, when they played the Falcons, dog, it was just like, you don't even have to throw the ball to him. Just, Donovan could scramble and just, on a broken play, just kind of looked like he was trying to throw it out of bounds. And somehow I feel like T.O., who could be lined up on the right side of the field, somehow is making a cross-field catch in a broken play. Mm-hmm. And, I don't really get it. I never really understood, I guess, the issues they had together. Like, I can see how, you're trying to be this clean cut and, give off a certain, level of professionalism or whatever, right, kind of guy. And then you got this guy who just... he does his own thing. I can see how that could rub you the wrong way. And I kind of fall in line with, this is where my take, I guess, kind of merges with yours, is that I can see how that can kind of boil over, right? And I don't know whose side, right? I can see how I can do it on both sides, which Donovan has never told him, like, hey, you do what you do, but at certain points in time, this is how we need you to act. This is how we need you to fall in line, right? We're trying to get these other guys who aren't as capable as you, right, to be as disciplined as we need them to be, to fall in line with the marching orders. But when you have, a dissenter in the ranks, that can infect guys just as much as what they're trying to, establish with the guys. And maybe Donovan was losing some influence on the team, and more people were wanting to be more along lines with T.O., and that's how it came off to Donovan, because he wasn't able to vocalize it. And I know I'm rambling, but he wasn't able to communicate that in a way to where it would have been well received. Yeah. So rather than be a grown man and approach it that way, it boiled over, and that's how it showed his head.
Because he mentioned, like, because if you recall, that was like during the period of time when the Eagles went to like 4 consecutive NFC championships. Mm-hmm. And it was like, when I came over, I came over to bring that certain type of attitude, mindset, and that.
Who's this speaking right now? McNabb or T.O.? Okay.
Because he, T.O., the first 4 championships, he wasn't there. Mm-hmm. He was in San Francisco. and he came over there from San Francisco to bring that, that attitude, that type of swagger to the team, and people apparently were gravitated to him, like Dawkins and Westbrook, and it was that type of swagger and confidence that I brought is what we played with those 2 games I didn't play. You know what I'm saying? They won 2 playoff games without me, and that's what fueled me to come back and sign a waiver. You know what I'm saying? So that I could play in that. And he had a situation where I guess he had a plate and 2 screws. He had a plate and 2 screws in his ankle, and he said he went out for pregame Super Bowl and they taped up his ankle, and it was hurting. So like his leg was hurting. So they literally had to tape up his fucking leg because he explained it a lot better. He was like way more eloquent about it. But it's like, when you walk, your bones give. Mm-hmm. So it was like I couldn't have that happen. So they had to tape up my leg, and I was able to go out there and I was able to deal with that pain. Which again, saying even more respect for the guy. I knew he was playing under those conditions, but I didn't understand to what
how
degree.
Serious. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy when you start looking at some of these boys. What they go out and they do. I'll give a nod to Kobe Bean right now, where from probably a mid-span and late in his career. I mean, this guy was cortisone shots, between quarters at the half or whatever to come out and play, and even the famous torn Achilles and I'm gonna walk over here and shoot these free throws. You know what I'm saying? Kind of mentality. Whereas now in the league, and I'm not talking down on any of these guys, but you hear the work management and load management or whatever it is, right? And you hear that kind of things going on in the league now, and it just makes you, it's like, damn, he tore his Achilles and he went back out there. He walked back out there, right? That's a different level of...
That show you the type of nigga he was.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, I know... Who were they playing?
Warriors.
Warriors, right? Yeah. He was like, I know that they'll pick someone... Because like, if he didn't take the shot, they could pick whoever they want to take the shot. And he was like, I know they're going to pick someone that's cold on the bench. I'm going to go ahead and just man up and take these 2 shots for my team. And he was so fucking like, competitive. He was like, if I'm able to get back. And he had to take the shots in order for him to be able to come back. You know what I'm saying? In the event, it's not what he think it is.
Yeah.
So he all that went processed through his mind while he was like fucked up on the ground.
But that's a different level of, with KD coming back, knowing what's on the line, and it's like I'm putting it all out there. Some people call it stupid because it's like what was going on, and there's some controversy with that, right? But the same thing with T.O. Same thing could have happened to him. He could have blown something, made it way worse.
Like I said, he had to sign the waiver to get on the field
in that game. But that
the surgeon did not clear him.
That just tells you, man, that like these guys are at a different level competitively. They're in a different tier.
And if I'm not mistaken, he balled. I think he had like 9 receptions for over 100 yards.
I wouldn't just deny it, man.
And then come to find out, they said that that's probably another reason why I came out of that interview liking him more than Donovan. They said Donovan ass was out partying the night before the game, and he was hungover on the field. That's why he was throwing up.
Yep.
I was like, makes sense. That makes sense.
And that does, and this is it's kind of stereotypical.
And they lost,
right?
24-21. If I'm not mistaken.
But it's kind of, I just have examples in my mind where, with the Jordan flu game, where it's just like these guys who are kind of given, and protected by the league or whatever, right? I think Jordan was kind of protected. He was shielded by the NBA, right? He was. And it's like he can go out and do that shit and then come back in, game 6 flu game, and then it's the flu game. You know what I'm saying? They build this narrative around it to protect his image and his brand and everything else. And, and I think those players can start believing some of that shit. Jordan can start believing that, like, what he did was acceptable. And it's like, no, it's fucking not. James Harden in the playoffs, the same thing. You show up to game 6 or 7, and it's like, this motherfucker is not giving us a tenth of what he can give us. And it's like, oh, he went out partying last night and doing all this and that. And it's like, oh, okay, all right. We see what kind of day it is, you know. But that's the thing, man. You know, the hard workers and the you know, that's the guy that's raw emotion and talent. You know, putting it all out there, and you don't like him because it don't fall in line with whatever. But I can see how Donovan could have had, you know, this ego kind of stroked a little too much out there because he was perceived a certain way. But here you go, day before the game, you out drinking, and I can speak for myself. When I played in the little league here in town, if I went out and had a couple beers or some liquor the day before, I could feel a difference on the court the next day. Like, I felt the difference. So, one, that tells me just how much better Jordan was than everybody else. Because the nigga to come back in there dehydrated and fucking feeling the effects of a hangover, and you still cook the other team like that, nigga was in a league all his own. But then on the flip side with Donovan, that just goes to show, nigga, you ain't built like that. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You weren't built like that. Mentally speaking, you weren't there. You know what I'm saying? For a nigga to have his ankle taped up and plated and all this to come out there and still put in that work shows me T.O. is in a different level. Yeah. I mean, he's in a different stratosphere competitively and athletically.
Probably explains why one in the Hall and one's not.
There you go. So, and maybe Donovan saw that and was like, damn, you know, maybe I'm not all that I was said that I was, you know, that I've been told that I was, and this nigga right here is the truth. And I feel some type of way about that. You know what I'm saying? It just, you know, my mind can see that happening. I've seen it in real life. I've seen it in, you know, the league and everything. It just is what it is, man. You just wasn't built like that, dog. And you came out and rather than, you know, admitting you fucked up and like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. That wasn't right. You know, you take it out on him because, again, you lose the influence on what is your team.
Yeah. But, I mean, I found it to be an interesting, entertaining interview, and I thought it especially, you know, because I do recall in the last couple, you know, months and over the last year, Donovan been kicking up some other stuff, and it's just like, why is this happening? You know, why? Like, where are you, Donovan? Weren't you on TV? But then with the Me Too stuff, I was like, everyone that's been Me Too is off TV.
Yeah, but see that even that fits that narrative, man. It's just in public you're this guy, but in private, you know, there's some things there that like you feel invincible. You feel like you can't be checked, you know, and that just, I think that fits right in line with that same narrative, man, of somebody who just you was given too much. You had too much handed to you, and you know, I think this is all the signs. So, all right, man.
All right, so we're gonna keep it in football real quickly. A story came up in the last couple of days on Part of My Take podcast. I'm going to throw it over back to PTI again for the lead-in, but it's a funny story between a first-year player and TB12.
Super Bowl winning defensive end Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs told this story on the podcast Pardon My Take. Jones recalled trash-talking Tom Brady in the December game in Foxborough. Jones said he said to Brady, quote, "You're an old bleeper. Get your old ass up. You need to retire." And Jones recalled Brady popping right up, getting in his face. Jones said gleefully in this, quote, "Brady got up so fast. That's the quickest I've ever seen Brady move," unquote.
I just found that funny, man. I no real commentary on that. I just thought that was a great story, and it you know, as the residential old guy in the room, I get it. Yes. And yeah, but I just found that story to kind of funny, man.
That's one of those ones that, you know, it's gonna speak to Brady's legacy in the future. Just that he's already regarded as like being hyper competitive, and you know, I know his boyish looks, you know, don't really speak to that necessarily. He's not the ruggedest looking of guys, but they say he's super competitive, and
typically you have to be.
Yeah, and to hear, you know, somebody, you know, getting the better of him on a play or two or whatever and saying some shit like that and expecting him to stay down and just look up and accept it, like, nah, you don't know who you talking to, boy. Forgot you talking to the GOAT. Yes. Probably Brady ain't hold up 5 fingers when he got up and do the
And,
Kobe Bryant.
The funny thing, if you actually see the clip, because they actually on that podcast, and I guess they were replaying the podcast. They brought up the shot where it happened, because like actually his teammate was the one that knocked him down, and he came out of nowhere and just started. You could see him just barking, and then Tom just, like he said, I've never seen him go that fast. I was like, yeah, that was kind of fast. And he was trying to get in his face. I was like, that is funny. And then you could see in his face, you could see the smile, like, oh, this motherfucker actually, he said about this shit.
I love it, man. I love that shit. Yeah, let's keep it going.
Yeah. So that was funny, man. I just wanted to touch on it. I thought that was a good story for the week.
TB12. This is still football. Before we move off of that,
okay.
Damn, man, them two boys that got booked, man.
Who?
On sexual assault. What team was?
Oh, it's Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yeah. The
Ohio State, man. Sad fucking story in the news, but
what happened? Like, all I know is that they got booked and they pleaded not guilty.
Yeah, they pleaded not guilty, and I'll speak objectively about it. So, from what I understand, one of the young men, was having sexual relations with the young lady. And then basically the other young man was, like, all right, well, it's my turn. How the story read to me, right? And I'm not saying whether he said it or didn't say it. And then just, proceeded to participate in the activities. And then after the fact, it was like, they recorded a video of her saying that, everything was consensual. And apparently she was crying and, just distraught in the video, and then told her take a shower, hit the showers, and then dropped her off at home. So it's how these things go, man. You got to let it play out, and I don't want to condemn the young men, but I also don't want to sound like I'm championing the behavior and all that, man. It's just more where I think young brothers like ourselves, man, these young men need somebody in their ear, man, just telling them, what is and isn't acceptable, and just how situations can appear to be favorable, can in the blink of an eye, you know what I'm saying, can go from being what you thought, and what felt like it was a consensual kind of engagement, and then all of a sudden it's not. I haven't seen the video, haven't heard the tape, I'm just speaking from just seeing things, growing up and seeing it, and now being older and wiser, and just knowing like certain things even my mom would try to teach me about. She just going back to the rules of like, I don't want no girls in my house when ain't nobody here, right? And I wasn't even really getting down like that especially at the crib growing up, but to me it was just like dang, she just don't want me to have like nobody over here. But it's just how quick, right, something could be. Somebody's over there and y'all, everything was legit on the up and up, but then just go figure, a week later, y'all break up, and it's like, I decide I don't want to be with her. Now her story changes, right? And how that can change.
Are you saying that's what happened?
No, I'm not saying that's what can happen. I'm saying, but we got to be smarter, and we got to, be able to lean on these young brothers growing up and just say, like, hey, in that situation, it's her word versus y'all word. Right, and although they did record the video, right, and I haven't seen the video, so the young lady could have actually been distraught and emotionally distraught in that video and traumatized, and in which case it's like, damn dog, you don't see this?
Yeah,
like that's a clear indicator, bro, that you fucked up, right? But it's just think about the scenario that you put yourself in, and how if her story doesn't align with your story, who's gonna be painted as the villain per se in that situation. So it's like you got to think through that, and you got to think of how did you get there, right? Just step through your night, right? Oh, we were out at a bar, we had a bunch of drinks, and then you had a bunch of drinks, and then you and your homeboy thought it was wise to take the one girl. It's like the jury's gonna side, public opinion is gonna side with her.
Yeah,
you got to know that, and you got to have the wherewithal, I think, to make better decisions to protect yourself in that instance. And And again, I'm not condemning them because no details have really come out. But I'm not, I'm also not saying that what they did was did not infringe on a young lady, right, in any way. But this is why when I'm with my nephew and my cousins, man, young boys, is just like, yeah, that seemed like the fly thing to do, but nah. Let me show you a different way to handle that, right? Let me show you a different way to approach that situation to make sure you don't violate her. And then on the flip side of that is that when you come out of this, she can't flip a story and it make you look like something that you're not, or like something happened that didn't happen. So
that's what the old cats are for, man. Old heads are for, give game.
There it is, and whether they adhere to it or not, but we gotta be in these young boys' ear, man. And
the old saying said, you can bring the horse to water, you can't make them drink.
That's right. But I think it's on us, to actually be speaking back to them boys and not only giving them game to protect themselves, but giving them game as what's not acceptable behavior with a young lady. You know what I'm saying? And it's as time goes by, I think like the slope gets kind of slippery, and it gets kind of hard to navigate sometimes. But there are some clear scenarios where it's just like, nah, that's a pass. You gotta take a pass on that one, dog. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta give them that game where it's like, pass on that, like easy pass. Like there'll be, it's a revolving door, dog. You have another chance, tomorrow, next weekend, whatever. True. This is one where you gotta put your foot down, take a hard pass on it, and take a cold shower that night, dog. So very unfortunate story to come out, man. Ohio State kind of got in front of it, saying they don't condone the behavior and giving the standard response, right? They've been suspended from all team activities and all that, and Ohio State's just saying they condemn any kind of behavior that would fall under the category of sexual assault, or of any sort. So, it's just a tough time, man, because that's what happens. The young lady is, dealing with some emotional, physical, whatever kind of the fallout of that type of situation. But then the players, it's pretty much a lot of people are going to turn their back on them, yep. In that time being. So, just hoping that, hoping that the truth comes out and it's dealt with accordingly. That's the only way I can really side with a situation like this. Because, like I said, I'm not in the business of just jumping on sides with somebody and protecting somebody in the instance that they just because they look like me, because could have very well have done something wrong. So I'm gonna wait for the facts, man, and I'm interested to see how it plays out and what really happens with this story here.
Okay.
So.
Moving on. So, with this weekend being All-Star Weekend, I guess this will be our one NBA segment.
Just one, man, on All-Star Weekend. Go figure.
It's probably going to be longer than most of the segments we had thus far. But at this point, the Lakers and the Bucks are at the top of the league, and I guess a lot of people want to know who they got. With that said, I'll pass it over to Stephen A. He has some poignant words about the Lakers and the Bucks and who he has.
We got some questions. The Lakers and the Bucks are on top of their conferences at the break. Which one, Stephen, do you think is more likely to win the championship this year?
Excuse me.
I would tell you right now, the Bucks have a better shot. The Greek Freak is playing out of his mind. He's incredibly aggressive. He's going after everybody. He's let everybody know this is his time, and you're going to have to do something about him, and you're going to have to do something about it. And regardless of how competitive the East has been this year, the bottom line is the path to prosperity is easier through the East than it is through the West. Now, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you got to look at the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yes.
Acquiring Marcus Morris, having legitimately 4 dudes, the Patrick Beverleys, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard,
them dogs.
Marcus Morris, to throw after 35 LeBron James in his 17th season. As a result, Frank Vogel's going to have to figure out who can come into the game, have the ball in their hands, and be able to spell for LeBron James without a significant drop-off. I don't know if they have that person right now, particularly against the Clippers. Right now, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest hope for the Lakers is that the Clippers, who play like champions when they go against the Lakers, forget that you got to play other teams too at an elite level to get to the Lakers. That seems to be the Lakers' only hope right now of coming out the West. So I'd have to give Milwaukee the advantage.
I mean, I would tend to agree with Stephen A. I mean, hell,
For the most
my pick last summer was Clippers and the 76ers. So I still got the Clippers.
Yeah, Sixers ain't doing it. Nah. Ben Simmons, has he attempted a 3-pointer this year?
I mean, I think he has. I just don't think he's done more than 5. Matter of fact, funny fact, Zion has made more 3-pointers than Ben Simmons has made 3-pointers at this point.
I believe it. It is what it is, man.
And he's only made 4.
Yes.
So, all right. So, who do you think is gonna come out of the East?
At this point, I agree. Like, it looks like the Bucks.
The 2 number. Well, so Stephen A. said the Clippers. He said Clippers, and
no, he said he said the Clippers are the biggest threat to the Lakers.
Okay,
that's what he said.
Okay, so you stick Lakers Bucks,
but I think my pick was the Clippers out of the West and 76ers out of the East. I'm sticking with the Clippers, and you know I feel at this point it's probably going to be. I'm leaning Bucks with a possible Celtics.
Yes.
About yourself, man. You think they're gonna? What you think? I know you're a Lakers fan, man. Or I forget. I'm a Players fan. I'm a Kobe fan.
Yeah, but now I'm honorary Lakers lifetime ticket holder now.
Yes.
These mental tickets. I can't afford to buy no season tickets out there. But no, I'm a Lakers fan for sure. I rock with the Lakers. Kobe brought me to the Lakers. He made me a fan of the Lakers, right? I'm a Magic fan just from where I'm at. So Magic are 8th seed right now. I don't see them doing nothing. So I'll start with the East. In the East, I have to agree kind of with what you said. Unfortunately, it's like I try to disagree, but then you say some shit. We didn't even discuss this, right? And you say Bucks and Celtics, and like those are the 2 teams that I think this year are looking to shape up to be the ones that make it out of the East. The Bucks are just consistent. I think the Celtics have more talent on that team than the Bucks, but they're just not consistent, and that speaks to in basketball,
I'm just gonna jump in real quick. I will say you got to make sure we put a flyer on the Heat because them boys are bad boys.
Yeah, and this is not to discredit nobody
behind those 2 in my mind.
Yeah, and that's not to discredit any of the other teams that right now occupy what would be a playoff berth, right, 1 through 8. I think they're all good teams, but when I see the Bucks play, it's just they're consistently a tough physical team, and it's like
shit.
Yeah, and it's like you say like, all right, you gotta keep Giannis out of the paint, and it's like I just see this young boy come in the paint game after game, and it's like he'll put up some shots too, but game after game, it's like you can't stop me from getting to this rim.
Yes.
Like I've seen nobody come up with a defensive scheme to stop him from
this year. Yeah, last year.
Even last year, they still was number 1 in the East.
But I mean, who was it? It was the 76ers. Was it the 76ers that beat them? No,
it was the Raptors.
The Raptors. They clogged up the lane, and
they clogged it, but they still didn't stop. I mean, it's like saying I'm gonna keep LeBron from getting to the paint, and I hate to make that comparison because I think legacy wise, right? LeBron is he's just in a league all his own, right? He's at a different stratosphere, but they're very similar styles of play, which is you don't want them to get momentum right on the way to the basket because they're just big physical dudes, and you're not going to stop LeBron after he's picked up his dribble. You're just not. DeAndre Jordan, back when the Clippers were Lob City. Certain players, you give Blake a wide open lane, like you're going to jump with him? It's not going to work out well in your favor. DeAndre Jordan's not going to work out in your favor. And the same thing I see with Giannis. It's just like Giannis, I hear everybody saying it, so now I'm saying both. I don't fucking know. Antetokounmpo, you right? So, but I've yet to see a solid, scheme to keep him out of the paint. And as such, they're number one in the East. They're just consistent. Like, you know what you're going to get with him. He's going to get out in transition with you. He's going to bang on you in transition. He's going to bang on you in the half-court offensive setup. If you can't stop it, what else is there, right? And again, the Celtics they got some dogs on that team. They, when I say dogs, I mean, the equivalent I would say would be the Clippers, where you got guys that'll go out there, they'll jaw with you. They'll go out there, they'll play a physical game. They'll go out there, they're just as athletically capable, right? It's just I just see a glimpse of inconsistency in their offensive scheme, where sometimes they can fall back and rely too much on what I think is their secondary talent, which would be shooting, right? You get Tatum coming out there taking up, some threes that I think is like, you're a physical player, you're a capable person in the front court. It's like you can create some shots for yourself, right? You don't have to settle for the three ball, but that's kind of where the league is at right now, which is a faster paced offense, three balls early in the shot clock, right? It's like I don't see that team as having to settle on that, but I do see games where it's like they try to get to the hole and that's not working for them, and then it's like they just retreat kind of early in the game, I think, and try the three ball thing to recover, and it don't work for them. Whereas I don't see the Bucks doing that. I see, Giannis will pull up for a three because you're leaving him wide open basically, but he'll do that 3 or 4 times down the floor. But after that, it's like, I'm gonna get a couple posters a game is what I'm getting at, and that is his go-to. And mentally, I don't see people distracting him from that. Whereas with the Celtics, you deny him when they play a big physical team like the Lakers and they struggle with their inside presence, then I see him fall back instead of, we're going to keep taking it in there and punching y'all in the mouth, and you're going to prove to me that I don't belong in this paint. That's what I see the difference between the Bucks and the Celtics right now. But I would say of the teams in the East, those are the two teams I would pick to come out. In the West, Lakers, they're sitting on top right now. They got AD and Bron, and it's just they're a hard duo to stop, because any given night they're going to give you 25, 9 assists from Bron, 9+ rebounds from AD. Any given night they could give you 50 to 70.
I guess that is, unless you're the Clippers.
Yeah, Clippers.
Yes.
It is what it is. I don't necessarily understand that because it's like Lakers are big, and the Clippers aren't as big as them, and it's like you would think the Clippers would struggle with matchups more so than the Lakers, but so I'm not. I don't have an answer for that, But again, the Clippers, to Stephen A's point, is where's the consistency, right? You come out with that intensity and that kind of dog against the Lakers. Have that shit with the Jazz. Have that shit with Portland. Have that same intensity with these other teams, because as we saw last year with Dame against OKC, is that you might have a better team, but you inconsistent out here. You know what I'm saying? You not keeping that same energy game after game. And what it came down to Game 7, or did they go to Game 7? It don't even matter. Like, you're a better team. You can't give us a chance. You can't give us that hole, right, for us to see opportunity, and they did. And to Paul George's comments, even though I agree with Paul George, that's a bad shot. It's a bad shot, right? But he beat you with a bad shot.
Yes.
Why was that ever the scenario? Yeah. You can't even give them that opportunity to end it on a fucking 35, 40-foot three-pointer. Because now you got to look at your teammates like, how did we even get in a situation to where this happened? I think Game 7 shot was Bucks and Raptors. Kawhi, the 50 bounce The shot that bounced like 50 times where he was crouching in the corner.
That was 76ers. He beat the
Sixers. All right, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
that was the one where Embiid started crying.
Yeah, but again, if you're hanging your hat on the buzzer beater, right? You got it. That's a bad lagging indicator. You know what I'm saying? What is our advantage? We need to our strategy. We need to beat them to a pulp with our strategy and take advantage where we have the advantage and not give them a gleam of hope. It is what it is. So right now I would say I would probably lean more on the more consistent teams. It's just kind of weird because the more consistent team loses to the inconsistent team in the West. Mm-hmm. But we'll see, man. Right now I'm thinking it's going to be like Lakers and Lakers Bucks right now for the NBA championship.
Well, I told you what I believe. But to piggyback on what you said about consistency, that is, and the Clippers, that's the one, I guess, the caveat with them is that they haven't had much on the court time together, him and Paul. Although, when they play the Lakers, they tend to beat y'all boys. But I would agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like they do need to get more time on the court, and they're running out of games. I think it's like 30 games left. Mm-hmm. So, and now Paul George is you got a little hamstring issue, from the Celtics game the other night. So,
yep.
I mean, so that I will say that's concerning, but if all else fails, I just feel like first off, I don't believe in AD. He's gonna have to show me, and I just think them boys. I think them boys just more athletic, have more athletic pieces.
Who's that? Lakers?
Than the Lakers.
Celtics.
Yeah.
I mean, the Clippers.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, their weakness is the fact that they don't have no bigs, but I don't even really consider AD a big. He don't play like that.
Nah. You're right.
And that's really the only big that you really concerned about. I mean, they got McGee, but he's barely in the game.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. With this whole small ball, right? They've gone away from coaching and really, encouraging bigs to play big, like when Shaq was in the game. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And like when Shaq was playing, I mean, you got to throw 4 or 5 bodies at him because you're just gonna get hammered for, 48 minutes, and that's a tough beating to take. And in the NBA playoffs, 7 games, if you even go that far, you got to be ready for the marathon. You know what I'm saying? And the whole team's got to be on one accord with that and just keep throwing different bodies at him and stuff. But yeah, I'd agree with that, man. He don't really play like a big, and AD struggles to stay healthy as well. LeBron is struggling to stay healthy, and that might be a proponent of playing these bigger guys. Having them running the floor, doing a little bit more than what historically they've done. They've been more about power moves, 1 or 2 dribbles and then doing this, and not necessarily transition ball and everything else. But yeah, I don't know, man. Anything can happen with them, because you got to think the Lakers right now. I mean, historically they've always had kind of a 1-2 punch, and if one of those 1-2 go out,
I mean, supposedly they got the makeup.
No, they don't.
I mean, with the 1-2 punch,
they don't got no makeup. There's no makeup
with the 1-2 punch, and I like I told you, we talked about this last summer when the trade or last fall when the trade happened. Mm-hmm. AD needs someone like LeBron on his team. He can't be the head dog. He ain't got that in him. I haven't seen it. And I like him. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that I'm against the kid, but he's not that dude.
He might have it. It's just the way ball is played now, and it's like it's frowned upon to be a big. It just is frowned upon, right? So nobody wants to be that guy. I think Whiteside was probably the most recent one that's just like, nah, Biggs is. I'm gonna show you that Biggs is still relevant, right? But you don't really get that no more, and it's like people want kind of that guard like flash, in their position. It's the reason why KD is listed as like 6'9" or something like that. It's like, motherfucker, you 7 feet. Because he don't want to be listed as a power forward, because power forward, no, I'm not giving the ball to a power forward to bring it up the court. I'm not doing it, right? And that's what they're doing. And it's like, you take it back, man, the way you had, Charles Barkley and Shaq and Horace Grant and Rodman, and these guys, took pride in that fucking physical game. Yeah. And you don't see it now. Now it's more about flash and, I can pull up from, it's like, dog, if how many times I see like AD and Dwight Howard, and the other day Tristan Thompson pulling up for 3, and I'm just like, when I was playing, you do that shit, next dead ball, get your ass on the bench. Get your ass on the bench.
It's a different game.
It is. You know what I'm saying? And I think, again, that's where some of this is coming from. Whereas I think AD, if they would take an approach kind of how they did with Dwight and early on in Dwight's career, which is like, okay, we got a physical big guy, right? Get your ass down on that post, and we're going to feed it to you down there. He's athletic, so run the floor. Dwight used to, get the better of people just running the floor. Same with Shaq. When Shaq first got in the league, being that big and being that athletic and being able to run the floor, it's an advantage. And then he started putting on weight and, changed his game a little bit. But we're not asking that of these guys. We're allowing them to come in the league as like, oh, well, like, I can handle the ball, and giving them that aspect of their game. But they're not even trying to develop AD as a big. Like a true big, as a 4 or a 5. Like they're not trying to.
That game is no longer. But again, I go back to what I said.
But
as far as like bigs being big, playing big like that, like they won't stretch 4s and stretch 5s. There ain't no like Whiteside and Dwight are still like 2 of the better centers in the league.
Which is sad because neither one of them really got no post moves.
You know what I'm saying? And again, I said it. I don't want to harp on this too long, but AD's going to have to prove it to me, man.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
I think saw him for 7 years, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's talented, but I haven't seen nothing that like.
No one's going to argue the talent. It's just I don't think he got it in him. He needs a LeBron,
and he looks like he got it in him. That's the thing. Like he gives me like when he shows up. Maybe it's the unibrow. He just looks angry and like he's ready to play. Yeah, but the thing that's funny about it is that Giannis is completely like, when I hear him talk and I see like him off the court, I'm like, he's too nice a guy. But when he's on the court, I'm just like, he is a dog on that court. But then when I see him off the court, he's the nicest fucking guy. Like his voice, he don't even have like a low pitched voice. He has a very like, young, just kind of, it just speaks of like fun and innocence. And I'm like, but this is a nigga that's like bodying y'all on that court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know if AD has that switch.
I don't think he has that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he has that. He's just good.
But he has the image is what I'm getting at.
He just had, again, I think you said it. I think you said it with the unibrow. I think that's what it is. I think you said it, my man. It's the unibrow.
I gotta go.
I'm being honest with you. But with all that said, I mean, you got Lakers, Bucks. I got Clippers, Bucks. Who you think gonna take it this weekend? All-Star game.
Team LeBron.
Yeah. I don't know what Giannis was thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like he was really just like, I'm gonna look out for my homeboys.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these picks. Right. By like the 4th pick, I kind of threw my hands up and walked away.
Win. Okay, well, the African brothers are gonna stick together.
Yeah. Y'all gonna lose together too.
Yeah.
I don't. If this is like even taken remotely competitively, I don't see how they match up at all.
Did you hear about the new? They got some
rules.
That little rule with I guess 24.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're doing it this year. So it's like it's who wins each quarter. So each quarter in itself is like a game, and then the 4th quarter they're gonna take, I think whoever has the lead at that point and add 24, and then it's the first to that score wins the game. So each quarter is just like.
Okay. So they're gonna add. It's like, so if I got 110 and I'm in the league,
yeah,
they're gonna add 24. So the first to 134 wins.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now. I get it because I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it was something
in passing, but I didn't. I was like, how's that gonna work?
Yeah, it was something like that where like the first 3 quarters it's like 10-minute quarters or something.
Because they did mention that, you know, the idea is that would drive people to want to play defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I get it. Now I get it. I get it now.
Yep. So it'll be interesting. I expect Team LeBron to win.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny.
I expect them to whoop
Giannis's comments where they're like, you know, who you gonna take? And it's like, well, I want somebody that's gonna pass the ball. So I'm like, oh, okay. A little jab at James Harden because you see Harden and Westbrook going very low on the. Yeah, you know, and you know it is what it is, man. And speaking of that comment, did you see Durant's comments?
No.
On, you know, so they were asking him about when he went to, and this is, I know, off the docket. Mm-hmm. I forgot all this shit even happened, man. So I apologize, but basically asking him about, you know, what went into the decision, you know, of him going to Golden State. And he was like, you know, I'm paraphrasing here. I think this was on Matt Barnes and Stack's podcast, right? Yeah. And he's like, you know, he got smoke. Yeah. He was like, he just got tired of playing with guys that were, again, athletic and wanted to go somewhere where guys could consistently make the shots that they were, you know, putting up. And I understand, you know, and I get people. Some people are, you know, they still give him flack for that decision, and you know, it is what it is.
They're the best team.
Yeah, and it's like I don't agree with his decision. I think I'm on record saying like, yeah, I thought it was a chump move, but if that's what the league is doing, even Zach LaVine was just interviewed recently. It's like, oh yeah, you know, I would love to play with LeBron. You know, I think everybody would. And it's like, that's the mindset now. It's like people want to play with the best as opposed to play against the best. And I'm on record saying like I think LeBron was a catalyst in kind of ushering that in a little bit, or at least taking the negative side effect of it away. Because I hate it when the Lakers did it with Karl Malone and GP. I hate it when the Celtics did it with the Big Three, when they, you know, went and got, you know, the All-Star from the Bucks, All-Star from the Timberwolves, and then put them with the All-Stars from the Celtics and then won a ring. It's like, no shit, you won a ring, duh, you know. But yeah, you know, I think, you know, they set that precedent. You know, I think LeBron successfully made it to where it was like acceptable or perceived as like okay, and then KD did it, and it's just like, oh no, this is bullshit. This is complete. I don't know. That's my stance on it. So
different. That one was a little different. Like, he went to a championship team. Like, went to a championship team.
Okay, yeah. And if you put 3 niggas on the team that are championship players, they went to.
We just talked about the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? They're not championship clean. You said because they need to play together. They need to be more consistent. And in order to be consistent, they got to play together, right?
Who said they weren't a championship team? I didn't say that. I said I don't see them beating the Lakers because of their inconsistency. But that's not saying they're not a championship grade team.
Well, I'm just
those aren't the same.
I'm just saying the point that you can't just throw together great talent and they're gonna win. Shit, you just brought up the Lakers. You can't just throw good talent on a team and think that they're gonna just win championships.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. Now, can they do it? Can they be beaten? That's a different topic. But you can't tell me that Lakers weren't a contender that year, because they were.
But they win.
They didn't win. They got beat. But that's not saying that they didn't have a chance. Now, if you tell me, what you're saying,
LeBron's first year in Miami, they lost, didn't they?
They went to the playoffs and they competed.
But they lost though, didn't they?
But that's not the same thing. You're conflating two different arguments.
You're saying you gotta do it to win. Just because you're good enough to do it.
You're conflating winning the total championship with being a championship grade team. That's not what I said. I'm saying you can't take 4 or 5 players who were all-stars from their team, put them on a championship, or put them on any team. You could send them to the fucking Pelicans. You could send them to the Bobcats, right? That's what everybody is saying. Everybody is focusing on the team that he went to. Yes, he went to a team that was the reigning championship. I'm not saying that.
No, it was reigning, but they
contenders.
They won a championship and then broke the single season win record.
Championship team
and lost in the championship.
Reigning Western Conference champions. You went to that team. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you pick 4 players from any team, I don't give a fuck. You put them in one location, they have a chance. That is a championship grade team. The Lakers right now is a championship grade team.
I want you to notice you did, like, after we started going back and forth, bring up grade. You didn't say championship grade.
Because
team.
Because people always do this and they make it seem like there's not nuance in that. Like, you say championship team and it means that they're going to win. No, it means they're going to compete. And everybody has an opportunity to lose, clearly. Yeah. Right? The same Heat team lost, right? But then also came back and won 2 or 3. Yeah. Without making really any major contributions or, changes to that team. So that was a championship caliber team. It is what it is. Okay. Did they win the first year? No, but that doesn't take away that they weren't as talented. They just met a team that played better, right? That's all I'm saying is that, what KD did, I don't agree with it. So I'm on record of saying that. But to say assembling 4 All-Stars isn't in some ways similar? No, I disagree with that. Because the team that you went to last year wasn't a playoff contender. Okay, but you just added all the components. You just made instant grits. Instead of putting it on a team that had the water boiling for a while. You said, okay, we're going to get the instant grits. We're going to get this, combined with that, little microwave. We put all the pieces together at one time. And there's similarities. There are similarities. But for KD, I mean, he's got to live with that. That's something he's got to live with because because people want, I personally want competition. I want to see the best competition. I want to see the best against the best. Yep. And he had an opportunity to go back and to see that again, and he didn't. He chose to join the best. He chose you can't beat them, join them, which... You mad at KD? That phrase has been around for fucking ever. Because niggas been doing it. It didn't start with the Lakers. It didn't start with, the Celtics. I'm saying that cliche phrase has been around. If you can't beat them, join them. Okay, so gotcha. It's not like KD invented it, but it's looked at like that's his cross to bear for his legacy.
Well, I mean, I think the thing that makes it worse for him is the fact that they were up 3-1. And it's like, yo, dude, you were right there.
And he was. And again, that's something he's got to live with. Like I said, I didn't agree.
3 chances to win.
I didn't agree with the shit. Absolutely. So there you go again. What did I say earlier? They shouldn't have even saw a gleam of hope. Put your foot on their fucking neck.
Yeah.
Put your foot on their neck.
Yeah.
Lakers in that one, what was that, 2000? Was that 2000? Maybe 2001 Lakers? 15-1 in the fucking playoffs. I think AI went off for like 55 that game. And it's just like, fuck. Like we knew he was good. We didn't expect a nigga to drop 55 though. You know what I'm saying? That was, AI had just a phenomenal night. Other than that, see ya. We'll see y'all boys in 2 weeks while y'all go to 7. You know what I'm saying? Spurs, y'all going to 7 with them boys. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. We resting. Because they just put their foot on their damn neck. And that's what it was when you played that Lakers team. But now you see shit up 3-1 and motherfuckers can't close it out. And to KD's point, I want people that can consistently hit them shots. And don't come out and just start throwing shit up because we in the lead and you feel like we got that little bit of a leeway. We got a leash, right? We got some slack. And okay, so I'm gonna come out and do shit that I normally won't do, and I'm not hitting it. Oh, now I think he was looked at as the person to close out the game on that team, but it's like, but you can't put me on a squad with 4 or 5 people, and really it wasn't 4 or 5 people. It was one person, right? To make decisions like that based off of his own belief in his own ability, and I think Westbrook is hella athletic. He's hella talented, but as far as a nigga that's gonna be consistent, like I think I'm on record with saying that. I think he would be better serve a team by stepping back a little bit and the number of shots and the quality of shots he takes. But
I think actually, to what we were saying earlier, the change in the game actually hurt him. Because if you notice, since they went small, he stopped shooting threes, and like his percentage is going up, and he's killing it right now, basically going to the basket.
I feel like that's in a way always kind of been his game, but that's also, I can fault him for that too, because he puts himself in a lot of terrible situations, like terrible shot selections.
Yeah.
And in the game, the stats don't really tell it, and because people are hanging their hat on like, oh, triple double this. And I'm like, but how many of those assists were off of broken plays where it's like you didn't make a good play and then pass it to somebody who was open, right, by design. It's like you drove on 4 people. You drove on the Lakers, right? And now you got AD, LeBron, all these people around you. In midair, you were able to like kind of finesse it out over here to this guy who was able to recover a bad pass and put up a shot, late in a shot clock, and he made it. I'm like, that's not a high percentage shot. That's not a high percentage scenario that you want to consistently put, members of your team in to be successful. But he does that a lot,
But now I would say he's in a better situation in the sense that now he has more shooters. So if he does get himself, so they spread out and essentially the lane is his.
Yeah, but you see that one way. He has to take a back seat on this team.
No, well, that's the ironic thing in the last 10 games. His shots has been going up since they, as the years went on, and especially when they traded Capello, his shots been going up because he's getting into the lane. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's going to last. I don't know if your boy the Beard going to, accept that much longer, but
no, I think they complement each other. I think they actually can complement each other very well. I think
they like each other. So.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah, they homeboys. So I think they complement each other very well. But again, Russ isn't taking 40 shots a game right now. You know what I mean? And as far as his selection goes, right?
I think it's like at 28.
Yeah. So, and I was, you can call Champ right now, and Champ can vouch for this statement. And I think I've said it on air again. I think I'm on the record saying that, like, I compared Russ to, like, high volume Kobe, which is like he feels like he has to force the team to win, right? And I'm, Kobe obviously being my favorite player, I can still sit there and say, like, dog, you are taking too many shots, and your team has to. They need to see the ball go in from something that rolled off their fingertips, right? That confidence, they need to have that confidence that the ball will go in when they shoot it as well. Mm-hmm. And it's a trade-off, and it's kind of scary because Russ can come out and give you 60 and know that, like, well, I got to put up 60 for the team, but there's something to be said when you empower another brother on the team to put up 15 or 20. Then he believes he can put up 15 or 20. Then he gets in emotion where, like, I can consistently hit from this range, and I know I can do this, right? And I think that's what Kobe did in his transformation from the, like, 04, 05, 06 era to the 08, 09, 10 kind of team, which is Paul Gasol's numbers kind of went up. Lamar Odom's numbers went up. Bynum's numbers went up. Other people were contributing, and Kobe had to drop. Kobe wasn't a 35-point, 40-point guy. He did give you those games when need be, but Kobe was a 24 to 28, kind of point player at that point in time. 28 shots. But for those 28, that means 20 other shots go to somebody else. Whether it be 5 to Bynum, 5 to Gasol, 10 to Odom, it don't matter. These guys are, you're giving them confidence. You're passing that confidence down to them and telling them, I believe you can do this. I need you to believe in yourself and for you to do it. So all that to say, I don't know what we were saying, is, I hope they ain't going to win it this year. Niggas, the Rockets.
Oh, man, they're done. No.
They're not going to win it.
I don't even take them serious.
But James Harden, I think his biggest gripe is his inconsistency. I mean, he's arguably the best offensive player as far as creating a shot in the game right now, but I've seen games where it's just like he just doesn't show up at all. In the playoffs too, like important games, like Game 6 and Game 7. It's just like
playoffs.
It's the same nigga that just gave us 50 yesterday, and he's got what 14 in the fourth quarter. Like, what is going on? So I don't know, man. We'll see.
All right. Well, last couple of little things I wanted to go over. I mean, little entertainment section. I would imagine, we definitely got Narcos up right now. I imagine we'll, over the next couple of episodes, we'll probably do a slight review of it. Get our understanding of it, because I know Ja'Cory is a fan of it as much as I am. Although you actually kind of mentioned you was hearing some bad things about it, bad reviews.
Yeah, the timeline. People were kind of complaining about some stuff, so we'll see.
I see my boy Quavo on this motherfucker.
Yeah, Migo.
So you can look forward to that. Real briefly, there's a new show on CBS called Tommy. It's essentially Edie Falco of Soprano fame, the mom. She's playing police commissioner out in L.A. Only reason why I want to bring this up real quickly, I only watched one episode, but I have a beef to pick with this.
Yes.
I mean, it's a LA show. I don't know if this is just because it's CBS, and CBS is like heavy New York, and she's like a New York person.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like New York at all. It feels like...
You mean LA?
I mean, yeah, it doesn't feel like LA. It feels like New York. And they're supposed to be in LA, and I have a gripe on that.
It's a pretty big.
Yes.
Cities are nothing alike. The energy in the cities are nothing alike.
Because how CBS kind of like most of their shows are kind of dark, but LA isn't dark. You know what I'm saying?
On the contrary,
it's more. And the thing about it, you can see that contrast from like the NCIS shows. The one that's in LA is way more brighter. But for some reason, this Tommy show, it just feels like they're recording New York, but trying to say that. And I just feel like if they keep that up, if that's exactly what they're doing, they're not gonna last too long, and they're gonna have to move out to and actually film in LA, because. I don't know. Like I said, I only watched one episode last night, and I didn't really watch all of it because I don't really like the acting in it.
Tell you how this review's gonna go next episode.
But I'm gonna try to give it a fair shake. But that was my one little gripe that I was like, man, it just doesn't feel like, out of all the LA shows, this doesn't feel like LA. Like, it feels like they're in New York trying to pretend like they're.
That's probably what they're doing too.
Yeah, probably is. But it's going to be a problem.
Ain't no palm trees, ain't no Mexicans.
It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. But with that said, what I really want to talk about tonight is a new show on Netflix. Another Netflix show. It's called Locke Key. I actually didn't think I was going to like this show, but I was like bored. I was like, it kept coming up, so I was like, let me take a look at it. Full disclosure, there's not going to be any spoiler on it, because I just really want to, bend your ear on it and get y'all takes on it. You know what I'm saying? Let y'all know that it's actually a pretty good show. But at any rate, it's based off of comic books. Comic books has 6 volumes, started in 2008. It's a best-selling comic book. It's made by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. Interesting fact: Joe Hill is Stephen King's son. So I guess that is, and that was a wrong one.
Like you shot him.
Yeah. I was trying to do that. At any rate,
so Stephen King is like his author name? It's not his real name?
No, that's his son. Joe Hill is his son. Maybe he.
But that's what I'm saying. So Stephen King must be like a guild name or something.
What they call it? What they call it?
I don't fucking know. You heard what I called it. His alias. It's not a real name. Like Jamie Foxx is not his real name. It's Eric Bishop.
Yeah.
It's a guild name.
It's similar to
Actors
Alias. It's similar to Alias, but I can't think of it right now. But at any rate, good show, man. Joe Hill has also inked a deal with DC Comics. It's supposed to have his own imprint called Hill House, and he's gonna produce some more DC comic content, as well as some new content from his own. But back to Locke Key, is a pretty dope season. First season, the cast is pretty diverse. They have just about every race, and the comic itself is very, very dark, very, very dark, to the extent that so what started this this episode or this season is the kid's father. It's a family of 5, 2 sons, oldest, youngest, middle daughter, and the father works as it seems like a principal in the TV series, but I guess in the comics he's a guidance counselor. At any rate, it starts by the father is killed by a student who finds out about the lock and keys, the keys that the locks are protecting. These are magical keys that were made back in the Revolutionary time that actually are they can open doors. Like, for instance, they have a anywhere key where you put the key in the door, and as long as you see or you can, you've been there and you can visualize it, when you open the door, you'll end up there. So, like, if you've been to the, so if you've been to, I don't know what that is. So if you've been to, like, South Africa, open that door, walk right there, and boom, you're in South Africa. Mm-hmm. They also even have, like, they have a mind.
I need to find this key.
They have a mind key where, say you can go in someone's mind and pull thoughts, revisit things. I mean,
I don't need that key.
All kinds of stuff like that.
I'll take the anywhere key.
But in the TV series, what happened was there was a picture in his office, and it was a picture of their ancestry home, and that's where all the keys was. Apparently, a demon was trapped there, and only kids can actually, like, take part in the magic. So he wasn't seeing that. No, well, Locke probably, the father probably could do it, but I guess he didn't think. I'm not gonna get that up. But anyway, this particular kid found out about the magical keys, and he wanted to know more about it. But the father wouldn't tell him nothing. So he came to their house with a gun and demanded it. He shot the wife, shot the father. He died, and while he was looking for, like, one of the other kids, the wife was able to gather herself, find a hammer, and knock the boy out. And that's what led them to go from Seattle back to Massachusetts, where they were from, and their house is, and then that's kind of where all this kind of goes.
Okay.
Now the comic book, on the other hand, that kid went there with another kid, and while he was talking to the father, the other kid raped the mama, and then everything else played out. He got shot. She was able to deal with him, and that shit's kind of weird. And
who chirping?
It must be the camera. That's all that I can think. But real dope, really dope series. I recommend it. It's one of those ones. It can get a little childish from time to time, because sometimes they do stuff that you're like, why in the fuck are you doing this?
Yeah. Like,
that's just dumb. Why are you doing it? But
well, it sounds original. So
all in all, it's a pretty good show. Apparently, this is like the third or fourth iteration. Apparently, it's first started off at Fox. Then it went to Hulu before it got to Netflix.
So I guess they didn't launch any of those. They just did like a pilot. Okay.
I don't think they got to the pilot. I think, like, they probably signed it, and before they even got to the point where they were actually shooting, they just like, nah, we're gonna part ways. But
okay.
It's a dope little
We have
series.
to check that out.
The bad guy name is Dodge. She's a baddie.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing if they have a second season. I mean, it's pretty dope. It sucks that one of the
You saw the whole season already?
I mean, you know, I had all last weekend. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I started like on a Friday, 3 a day. 10 go by pretty quickly. I think I finished it on Monday.
Got you.
But
all right,
dope
check it out.
show. Take a chance, take a look at it. With that said, you got any church announcements?
No.
None?
Nothing.
Okay, I have none either, baby. Don't be a square. Hit the share, like, love, thumbs up, notification button on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, on the Hot Takes and Half Truth podcast, on IG and Twitter, HT Square Pod, and if you're truly new school, old school, you can email us at htsquarepod@gmail.com.
Yeah. You can find me on IG and Twitter at JustKingin. That's JUSTKINGN.
And you can find me at I am Ivy Joe. That's Joe, JEAUX, on IG and Twitter.
There it is.
Just like that, we're done.
Again.
Try to do better next time. For the two of us, to all of you.